What's happening, everybody? Welcome into a brand new episode of Phillitin Words, Tuesday, March 24th, 2 days before the Phillies open up the 2026 regular season. Anthony, you were setting up this podcast, and you had said to me that this is the 9th annual edition of you and I doing a preview show for a podcast, which is stunning to me. I cannot believe that we've been doing this for 9 years. And I actually have to tell you, if this were, 2012 to 2020, I don't think we would have made it this long. So,
no, we probably
give Phillies some credit for keeping us here.
Absolutely, Bob. And you look ahead to the future, and if there's a season on the horizon where they fall back into the doldrums that were, 2012, 2013.
Yeah, just know that if they win 70 games 3 straight years, this show's over.
We're done.
I can't do it. Nobody wants to hear me in the middle of that, I promise.
That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, we have another season upon us, another season of, I'm sure there will be a lot of good, some bad, riddled with anxiety, and a lot of our favorite comments coming in from people that say, wake me up in October. You know that's coming as well. So
absolutely. I mean, look, I'm hoping for some of that because I'm at my best when there are those things. We need some anxiety, we need some issues, we need some bumps in the road. That's when I shine. I thrive under those conditions. So I mean, look, we have baseball in 2 days, and I talked a little bit about it the end of last week. I'm certainly excited. Momentum has built over the last 2 weeks, I think, in a positive way. For people that were a little bit just kind of underwhelmed by the offseason, and things continued this weekend, even after we last talked with the extension of Christopher Sanchez. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
And the news here that Zach Wheeler could potentially be pitching in a Major League Baseball game by April 15th, if not sooner. So that thing has really gotten some legs here in recent days with the news that he'll throw 3 innings on Saturday, or is scheduled to, for Lehigh Valley. So, I mean, bring in here, and it's all good for the 26 Phillies, right?
I think I'm going to be there up in Allentown and go check out those.
Did you see the weather forecast Saturday? Did you happen to see what you're looking at there? It's going to be pretty breezy, pretty chilly. I don't know that I'd be.
Yeah, well, it's either sitting in that there or sitting in that down at the ballpark, one or the other, right? So I guess I'll be sitting there. And as David Waitman points out, Wheeler must have been eating his Wheaties to be back so soon. Look, I got to watch that first live BP down in Clearwater, and he was impressive. I mean, yes, the velocity was a little bit behind, but it was to see him on the mound throwing like Zach Wheeler so soon. Like, I mean, we're talking, Bob, what, like less than 4 months after the surgery? I was floored by it. I really was. And I sitting there watching that take place, in the back of my mind, I'm going, he's pitching in April. Like, this isn't getting into May. Like, this is just not. Now it looks like it's going to be even faster than even I thought. Like, I was thinking late April. Now it's looking like it might be mid.
Let's talk about the potential timeline. Let's just say, first of all, you think there's any chance that the Phillies look at the weather forecast on Saturday and say, like, no?
I hope so. And I hope they decide that sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Squad on drive up.
Not when you're in transit. Yeah. But let's just assume that they let him rip and he throws his 3 innings on Saturday. And that is what day does that bring us to? That is what? The
Saturday would be the 28th, correct?
So then he would make a second rehab appearance, you would think, and that would put you in the first few days of April. Do you think they would, if everything continues to progress, would they bring him back for a third, or would they say, go give us 5 at the major league level at that point, bringing you to April 9th or 10th potentially?
That's a good question, and I think that a lot will be determined by how he looks, right? So let's say he throws those 3 innings Saturday, and he pitches pretty darn well. My guess is it's like the following weekend, maybe like the 3rd of April, he gets that second rehab start. Then do you look at it and say he has to do one more just to get his pitch count up? Or are you comfortable bringing him back, say, that Arizona series, April 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in there, and say, all right, Zach, we're capping you at, 70 pitches, but you're able to come back and pitch in the major leagues? Or do you want to go one more and then say, okay, maybe he returns the following weekend against the Braves? Yeah. And at that point, he's up to 90, for example. So that's really what it comes down to. But that, to me, that's what it's looking like, Bob. It's one of those two. It's either that third start is back here and it's a short start, but it's against major league hitters, or they give him a third rehab and then come back the following week and you're at almost full strike, fully.
Well, you want to be cautious with what's at stake, or given what's at stake. It's also an established veteran. This guy's earned the right. He's going to dictate how this thing rolls. This is not going to be the Phillies. It's going to be, I'm good. You're bringing me up now.
Yeah.
And so knowing that, if he's being realistic, and I would assume that you probably see him after that second one, if everything tracks well. I would think that you would not get a third from him down there, but maybe. And probably. It's interesting.
And this is also an interesting thing. I don't want to mean to interrupt you, but as David points out, the following week, the Iron Pigs are in Durham if Wheeler does do another rehab start. So are you getting on that on that trip to Carolina, or are you going to rather pitch that in Philadelphia?
I don't think so. It's important to point this out. It's not just to say, oh, wow, this is surprising and excellent. And I briefly mentioned this in Friday's show, but if you're looking at a division right now where the Mets are favored slightly to win the East in this moment, and the Phillies are, have the second best odds, and then the Braves are a little bit more distance between the Mets and Braves. This is a division where I think, can reasonably look at any of these three teams and say, I would not be shocked if any one of them were to win the division at the end of the year. And so if they are truly as close together as we suspect, getting an additional 7 starts from Zach Wheeler, considering where we thought it might have been at the end of May, getting an additional even 3 starts, if you were optimistically saying maybe that last week or final days of April, the first few days of May, you can bolt on another 3 starts to that. That could be the news that sort of swings where this division falls. And obviously so much goes into it, and you won't feel that as much. You won't feel this news and its impact on the division race as much on March 24th as you might in the middle of the season. But I'm just looking at these teams, and I think it's so difficult to say, hey, look, one is clearly better than the other. And so this information, this development, I think could have a tremendous impact on how it finishes up. I don't think we're going to get a division winner 10-plus games going away here like we did a season ago. And so these extra starts by Zach Wheeler could very well make the difference. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And you're probably right. Look, you know me, I'm Mr. Anti-New York Mets, right?
Yeah, I know.
And I look at that Mets team, and I still see less there than I see with the Phillies. They're improved, but I see less there than I see with the Phillies. That said, I'm not ignorant enough to sit here and say that the Phillies will win the division easily. I think the Mets are going to give them a little bit of a push. And so you're right. I think that that having Zach Wheeler, even if it's an extra 3 starts than you expected, right? Even if it's that few, those 3 starts could make the difference between being a division champion, getting a bye, and having to play in a wild card series. That's how important those starts are, even if they are in April. Those starts matter. And so I look at it and say, yeah, look, if he's ready to go, get him in. Don't slow play this just because you're worried that it'll be, he's coming back from this dangerous condition and whatever. If he's cleared medically and he feels good and he's ready to go. Don't mess around.
And it's almost impossible to have this conversation and not in the next breath talk about what's going on with the Braves. I mean, so much has been made about the injuries that they've already sustained, the injuries to their starting rotation, some of the issues that they've dealt with this offseason. And the latest now being that Spencer Strider is going to miss time to start here with an oblique issue again. And I look at that rotation in this moment and I go, this is not just okay. It's on paper. I mean, guys can step up and certainly exceed expectations. And I'm not trying to be a hot take artist, but it is substandard, this starting rotation coming into the season. But what's interesting about this You know that, like, I sniff around the sports book odds. I think I actually do formulate a lot of my opinions about how I see things transpiring just based on how odds are laid out. Let me tell you something that I saw this morning that I found to be very surprising. As I just noted, you look at the NL East and the way it shakes out at DraftKings right now, you have the Mets plus 140, the Phillies plus 175, and the Braves are plus 250 right now as we talk. Yet, and again, I find this very interesting, most regular season wins by the end of April. Are you ready for this? The Dodgers predictably have the best odds, or the shortest odds, plus 290. The Mariners are second at plus 750. The Braves are third right now at plus 900, ahead of both the Mets at plus 1,000 and Phillies plus 1,500. Now, I have not looked at their April schedules or March-April schedules. I assume that the Braves is probably a little bit more easier to navigate based on this information.
I don't know about that. Like, I'm looking at it, right?
I'm surprised. I mean, I saw the Guardians in there. I know they start with the A's, Atlanta does, but like, I don't know, man. Like, what am I missing here?
Let's look at it real quick. So they open with the Royals and the A's, but both at home. So you get the Royals and A's coming into Atlanta. Then they go on a road trip, 4 in Arizona, which is not easy. And then 3 against the Angels, which, the Angels are the Angels. Then you have a homestand where you go, okay, you got Cleveland and Miami, right? All right, fine. Then there's a stretch where they don't have a day off for 10 days, and it goes Phillies, Nationals, Phillies, and then the last series in Atlanta is at home against the Tigers. Like, it's not that easy. It's not like it's a bunch of cakewalks in there. There's some tough games in there for the Braves.
As you're talking, and I'm taking that in, I'm also looking at the Phillies' April schedule, and it's not a cakewalk. I mean, you see the Giants. How about this? You get the Giants both times in April. Like, you see them for 6 games in April. You have the Diamondbacks as well. You have the Cubs in there, which is going to be a challenge. You have the Braves head up. You do have some Nationals, and you do have some Rockies, and you better take advantage of those games. But it's a challenging April schedule for the Phillies, and I would be lying, and I don't want to go too far down this road on this show, but I would imagine, based on what I'm looking at in April, that the Phillies have some easier months ahead once you get into the season.
That they do. And
April is a challenge. Like, I get the Phillies being, the 7th or 8th best odds to have the most wins by the end of April, just based on what I'm looking at here, quick glance.
Yeah, no, the Phillies schedule is, if you look at the way that it breaks out, like, their easiest part of their schedule, it might be the end of the year. And even then, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where the easy is for the Phillies this year. And I know you play everybody. It's like, how you got to find some. But when you look at stretches, like, even when they play easier teams, they're surrounded by tough teams, like around them. There's no like real break in the schedule where you go, okay, they're going to have like 12 games against bad teams in a row, like, or anything like that. Like, that doesn't really happen in their schedule. And the thing about it, like, coming out of the All-Star break, the Phillies have that long. We already talked about the schedule last year. Just as a reminder, because of the All-Star game being here, there is only one home series between June 22nd and July 16th. And that's a home series against the Pirates. The rest of the time they're on the road. But then they get a big homestand when they come out of the All-Star break. It's Mets, Dodgers, Yankees. Like, it's not easy, So the schedule for the Phillies this year is a challenge, I think, the way it just lays out.
All right, well, fair enough. Before we go into the season preview stuff, and we've talked a lot about the players of note. We've mentioned Stott, Spring, and we've mentioned Garcia and Wright, and how he's kind of come on as of late, and we talked about that extensively on Friday. So I don't want to just keep recycling the same topics. Before we get too far, though,
we have to talk about Sanchez here, right?
That's where I want to go. Yeah. So let's talk about what we found out over the weekend. Phillies have tacked on some additional years to his deal, have guaranteed him more money. If you want to walk through the mechanics of that, your take on it, is it good business by the Phillies? Is it good business by Sanchez? Like, how do you look at this thing?
This is the way it was described by Sanchez's agent to Matt Gelb. It said it was unprecedented. And like, the Phillies could have sat there and just smiled and said, hey, we have a sweetheart deal. We're just going to let it play out, and then we'll pay you down the line.
Yeah.
They did right by their pitcher. And two thoughts on this, Bob. The first thought is it's still a great deal for the Phillies because Christopher Sanchez is ultimately being paid less money than you're paying Taijuan Walker right now annually for the next 7 years. Like, I don't know. Like, I look at that and say, that's a sweetheart deal still. Yes, he's getting paid a lot of money. I'm not trying to make it seem like $17.8 million annual average value is peanuts. But when you think about what the top pitchers in the game are being paid today, it's 50 cents on the dollar. Like to me, that's huge.
So the Phillies do right by the pitcher, and what does that do for them? Like, what are the ramifications of that? Do other teams, first of all, do other teams around the league look at this and go like, come on, guys, like, what are we doing here? Is there like are you afraid of setting a precedent? I mean, if we're going to use the word unprecedented, and I don't know, look, there are some people that listen to our show that are like all 30 teams, all in all the time. You could probably point to some example, something along the way that happened where a team throws some money at a guy where they don't have to. I would also point out that it does give them extended control beyond what they would have otherwise had. So if Christopher Sanchez is about to embark on a 6 or 7 year run, they're going to save money on the back end of this deal by having done what they're doing.
Yes.
You know, there is some benefit in terms of long-term control. You kind of cross that bridge when you get to it. But yeah, I mean, up front, they gave him money that they would not have otherwise needed to give him.
Yes, and that's the second part of this. And you're right. I'm sure there are some teams out there saying, Phillies, what the hell are you doing? Like, we don't do this. Like, this is not done in the sport. And I think the Phillies, you know, in a way, this is, I don't want to compare it to the Dodgers deferring money, you know, and all that stuff. Like, the Dodgers have found ways of doing things that nobody else does in baseball, and everybody else complains about it. But maybe the Phillies do this, and you look and you see, and this is not like it's anything new, but people are talking about it now. Like, they have these little press conferences, and the whole team comes out and they sit there and they're supportive of their teammate. When you see the Phillies doing this and caring more about the player, that is sending a message to the rest of the league. Like, look at how we treat our players.
Right.
In the future, if you're a free agent and you want to come somewhere, come to Philadelphia. We'll give you, we'll pay your salary. We'll pay you a good contract. We'll pay the money. Oh, and by the way, if you're better than we thought you were, we might just rip up that contract and give you even more.
Right.
Like, that's something that's pretty rare for an ownership group to do, because most ownership groups are about the bottom line, and the Phillies just want to win so bad that they don't really care. They'll do something like that if they feel that it's warranted.
So looking at the deal in 2027, he makes $6 million. 28, he makes $9 million. 29, he makes $15 million. 30, he makes $16 million. And then 2031 and 32, that's where the money really kicks in. Like, his age 34, 35 seasons, they're allocating $30 million to it. And then there's a club option for 2033. The shame of this is, as you look down it, is that he was such a late bloomer. You feel like you're on the front end of what's about to be a 10-year run of dominance, and you say, okay, well, wait a minute. The only issue with that is that he's 29 years old, or he'll be 29 years old this year. Like, the question I would have, yes, you did get that additional control, but are you really going to want that control at a potential $44 million in 2033? Like,
impossible.
Maybe.
I mean,
it's so ridiculous to look that far out, especially with the labor negotiations, the uncertainty, what we're going to come across next year. But $44 million in 7 years is probably going to be.
Well, the way I look at it, Bob, is I think that they're sitting there saying to themselves, we might have some offensive regression because, you got, who knows what, we don't know what Harper's going to be. You assume he's going to bounce back, but we really don't know. You don't know how Trey Turner's contract ages. You don't know how that Schwarber contract ages in years 4 and 5. You don't know how the Real Muto contract ages here in the next couple of years. Like, so there are potential pitfalls on the offensive side, but the Phillies are so invested now in their starting pitching over the next 5 years that they feel like they can continue to be a contender on their pitching alone, like just purely on pitching alone. And they're not wrong. Like to think that way, like it's a way to kind of bridge that gap until you can figure out what you need to do offensively. You're going to have pitchers that are going to keep you in games. Even if Christopher Sanchez, let's say he has a little bit of a regression at some point, not saying this year, but at some point in this contract, if he regresses back to a middle of the rotation starter, let's just say, by the time you're hitting that $30 million salary, that's probably about what number 3 pitchers are going to be making in Major League Baseball.
Certainly. I agree with you on that. What do you think it does for them in terms of planning and roster building over the next few years to kind of have the entirety of your rotation minus Zach Wheeler booked out and sort of solidified and accounted for from a financial standpoint? I mean, you look at where they're at, just to kind of quickly review this. So they have full control of Sanchez through the 2033 season. He is on the books through 32 no matter what. And the Luzardo deal, he is on the books through 31 with a club option for 32. Aaron Nola, for better or worse, he has an additional 5 years remaining on his deal. So they have him through 2030. And then Andrew Painter, they have control of through, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 29 season. I have to verify that one though. So, I mean, you're looking at least 4 years out though, where you have full control here of your rotation. And then, we don't know what's going to happen with Zach Wheeler. I think that there's a chance that you see him when baseball comes back though. Like, I don't think that like they go away, they have labor strife, and then you never see or hear from Zach Wheeler again. That feels unlikely to me.
I will tell you this, Bob. If they win a World Series this year,
okay.
Zach Wheeler could walk away.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if he's healthy though, and they are knocking on the door and there's more meat on the bone, I don't know. It's so hard to imagine him walking away at that point. But
yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the outcome of this season and really how long that labor war goes. In all honesty, I think so. But I'm with you because if I'm sitting here and I'm saying, let's look to the future, and if we don't think the Phillies win a World Series, I don't think Zach Wheeler wants to walk out. My career's over in a half season, or a quarter season, or whatever the hell 27 looks like. Then I do think, but at that point, I think you're looking at a guy who wants to come back, like maybe on a 1-year deal kind of thing and figure it out. So like he could be here through 28, but again, I think a lot of that has to do with how this season goes. Right.
You think Noel's pitching in this rotation by the end of that contract?
Yeah. Yeah. And he might be at the back end of the rotation. He might be
sort of is right now.
No, but I'm saying like he might be your number 5, like whatever.
He might be right now though.
I don't know about I don't know if it's that far down. But yeah, no, I do. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to buy that out?
Well, you did just watch the right fielder go away at $19 million for the final year of his deal. So $24.5 million in 2029 or 2030. Yeah, maybe
the last year.
Yeah.
Maybe the last year, right? But I think a lot will depend on how he goes.
I'm sure we will come back to him and your thoughts on him entering this season and if you're bullish on him or not.
Well, he's got to be better than he was last year, right? I mean, I think everybody would be in agreement on that.
Is there anything I'm in agreement with you. I mean, certainly It's been encouraging start and velocity. And I know he was not as sharp the other day in his final tune-up, but I think that you look at his spring as a positive for sure.
Yeah.
Of entering this season. I don't know how you want to do this. We probably should have talked about structure. Like, do you want to just go right into like bold predictions, who you're in on, who you're out on for the Phillies? Like, how do you want to do it? I'm going to let you take the lead here.
Oh, whatever. I mean, we usually save for the end our win totals and World Series predictions. But if you want to talk about who we are in on, who we believe in, who we think might take a step back, we can do those. I think. Okay,
so let's do it this way, just totally on the fly because there's no other way to do this. Certainly, let's do 3 players that you're in on. and then 3 players that you are out on. And it doesn't have to be extreme. It doesn't have to be insane. We don't have to get like super bold here, but like coming into this season relative to expectation, what are you feeling really, really good about? Let's start there. You can go 1 for 1 if you want.
Yeah, sure. And I think we're going to be, in all honesty, I think we're going to be in agreement on a lot of this, right?
That's fine. Save the listeners time.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, it's got to start. I always go with pitching, and it starts with Jesus Luzardo for me. I think the early speculation of him being a guy who could potentially be in the Cy Young race this year is legitimate. It's real. It's not people getting overblown by the fact that he just got a great contract and has had a good spring. Like, I think there's something there with this guy, and I think it's going to matter. I think he's going to matter. He's going to be a big piece for the Phillies this year. So he's the first guy I'm in on. And I think he's going to be a big difference maker for them going forward.
I think there are a lot of people that listen to this show that come here to hear the frustration and hear some of the negativity from time to time, in the way that we lay it out. And not because we're negative by nature, but I think we just try to keep it real.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting to me that right now, like if no matter how you feel about an aging lineup, no matter like how you feel about this core or this group and their inability to figure it out and hit better than 199 as a team the last 2 postseasons, look at the Cy Young odds right now in the National League. And you have Sanchez with the 3rd best odds behind Skeens and Yamamoto. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is Jesus Luzardo. Like, this is not an overreaction. Like, maybe Jesus Luzardo goes out and blows up for 2 months the way that he did last year. I don't know. Like, it's possible. But when I look at how he started last season, when I look at how he finished last season, especially how he finished last season, and then I look at what he's done this spring, and you talked about the implementation, the change, and the change-up. And then you look at everyone around the sport just rave about the guy. And then, oh, by the way, you look down, he's got the 8th best odds to win the National League Cy Young entering the season. Like, all the hype is there, and it looks like it's legit.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, that to me is the one that stands out above anybody else.
Do you know how, I love Paul Skeens. Like, it's impossible not to love Paul Skeens, but how bad of a bet is it at plus 210 for a guy to win a Cy Young entering the season?
Yeah, you can't do that.
It's just insane.
You just can't.
For a very, very, very okay Pittsburgh team who will be like functional, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Like having just done it, no less. That's the other part of it, like the old back to back. Zach Wheeler, by the way, plus 2,000. He's right ahead of Luzardo. So he has the 7th best odds coming in. He's not even going to be on the opening day roster. So
yeah. And the fact that you have three
guys in the top 8, this team stinks. Call me in October. I don't want to watch
top 8. Like, geez, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's the truth. And it's deserved. It's
with
deserved.
a bullpen that people are bullish on too.
That was going to be my number 2, Bob. And it was, I know you said players, and I was going to cheat a little bit because I was going to make the bullpen in general. I mean, if you want to identify the player, I'll say Duran, just because the Phillies finally have, for a full season, a dude at the back of the bullpen. Like, they come into the year with a closer at the back of the bullpen. But I think in general, the bullpen, when you look at how it lines up, this might be the deepest bullpen that they've had during this entire stretch. And we know that there was a couple years ago we were kind of excited. It was it's either 23 or 24. They kind of run together to me now. But we were kind of excited about the bullpen, saying like, wow, look at this bullpen come in. When you had the Strom and the Hoffmans, and they were all stars, and you still had Alvarado pitching the way he was pitching, and like, we were excited about the bullpen then. This bullpen is deeper. It just is. There's more guys out there that you can rely on, even in lower leverage situations. And like, to me, once again, I say it 1,000 times, the pitching matters more than anything else. I don't care if your lineup can't hit. Pitching can keep you in baseball games and can win you baseball games. I'm in on the bullpen this year, and I think it's going to be a very, very good one.
All right. I got one for you here. You know who I'm in on? I'm in on Justin Crawford.
Cool.
I'm in. I'm in with like an asterisk, but I think that when you look at the numbers, you're going to be like, eh. And like, I think that there's going to be a point where you say, long term, can this work? Like, I think he's going to leave a little bit to be desired in terms of, you look at his OPS. Like, I don't think that he's going to hit with a 760 OPS this year.
Right.
But I think the way that this lineup is constructed and the way that they want to use him, if things play out the way that they hope, I think he's going to be a lot of fun. And I think he's going to create chaos. And I think that they're going to be able to use the athleticism in tandem of Crawford and Turner to really put a lot of pressure on defenses. And I think it's one of the under-talked about things when you look at this offense. The Phillies were 9th in runs scored a year ago. We all look at this offense like it's total dog shit. Like, this offense, it sucks. Is it possible the offense regresses year over year? Yeah, it is, because like Kyle Schwarber might not hit 56 home runs and knock on the door at winning an MVP. Maybe Bryce Harper doesn't have a FU tour this year. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Alec Boehm is what he is. Bryson Stott truly is what he is. It's another year of decline for JT Realmuto, and the corner outfielders aren't good enough. And I get it. Like, so am I super bullish on the Phillies offense in totality? Not especially. But I do think that we get so hung up on the decline narrative that we're overlooking the potential that you could really have two guys that create havoc in that 9-1 split in that lineup. And I just go back to like last year. I mean, he stole, Crawford talking about here now, he stole 46 bases. Like, they're going to run him. He gets on base. If he can hit 260, 270, he's not going to walk a ton. But if he can just get on base enough, I think that he has a chance, given they have no depth in center field and they let him play. I would take over 45 stolen bases for this season. I'm in.
Wow, that's a big number.
He's got to get on base like 315, 320. It can't be 298. He can't hit 260 and walk 5 times. It's not going to work. But if he can do that, I think he's going to play enough. And they ran him 58 times last year. They attempted 58 steals with him last year. They want to run him. I think it's going to be a big part of what they do.
Look, Bob, if you would have said he's going to have over 30 steals, I would have been in.
I want to try to implement some both. 45 is insane, by the way. And I'll tell you, if you look at last season, like, I'm aware of this, there were only 3 players in baseball that stole over 40 bases last year. So, like, I am aware of that. Yeah. But I think that there's a chance. He's just got to keep himself in the lineup. Like, and that's the thing. Because right now, I just don't see how they take him out of the lineup. He's going to have to be brutal to not play a ton.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And that's don't get me wrong. They don't want to play Marsh in center field. They don't want to do it.
No, they don't. They don't. They'll do it. They'll do it from time to time to give him a day off. But yes, they don't. You're right. They don't want to play Marsh in center field. I'll give you my third one. My third one here. It might be a little bit of a surprise because a couple weeks ago I was questioning this, but here's what I think is going to be interesting. I'm in on Adolis Garcia.
Okay.
And let me tell you what I'm in on about him. I look at 47 spring plate appearances. I see 7 walks and 5 strikeouts. That's what I'm in on. That's what I'm in on. He could hit 230. I don't care. He could hit 22 home runs and that's it. I don't care. The fact that that he is showing some discipline right off the bat, not chasing pitches and working more walks than strikeouts, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And he's going to play very good defense in right field. You've now upgraded the position. If he does that, if he can show that restraint and that selectivity at the plate, he's going to be far superior to what you were getting out of Nick Castellanos in right field.
All right. Here's my concern, because you just used the name Nick Castellanos. I do recall, I think it was last year, maybe it was 24. We were talking about his free swinging tendencies.
Yeah. And
I know we had a conversation at some point about, wow, he's trying to be a little bit more patient. Look at him. He actually drew a couple walks. I just wonder, like, I know that there's been work with Kevin Long. I know it's a point of emphasis. You were down there, spoke to this. I get all of it. But like, at the end of the day, he is 33 years old. He walked 28 times in 547 plate appearances last year. I can appreciate that he has done a great job of it this spring, and I would be more encouraged by that than less encouraged. I think it's a positive, but I just wonder, like, fundamentally, you can do that for a couple weeks down in Clearwater, but when the lights go on, and like, are you just who you are at that point? And that's what I worry about, because even the year prior in 24, 637 plate appearances, he walked 45 times. So 17 more times, more at bats, about 90 more plate appearances, but 17 more walks, and he still only had a 284 on base percentage. I don't know. Like, what's the magic number if he's playing every day out there? Like, how many walks does he need in order to make it work as a 230 hitter?
Whatever. I mean, so the number of walks, I mean, he's not going to average a walk every 7 plate appearances like he did in the spring, right? He walks 50 times. Are you good with that? Like, it's not even about to me, it's not even about the number of walks. It's cutting down on the strikeouts. That's the thing that really matters to me, because if this guy puts the ball in play, he's probably going to be productive.
What do you think his output is this season? Where do you have him? Like, if I were like, say, like, let's throw out your over-under, your rough over-under on where he's going to land. Like, do you have him hitting 25 home runs like he did in 2024?
I think he's close to that. I wouldn't be surprised if he got to 25. Again, Citizens Bank will favor him a little bit over where he was playing in Texas. Globe Life Park down there is tough for right-handed hitters to hit home runs. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's at 25. Maybe he's just short, 23, 24, whatever, and probably drives in, 80 to 85 runs. Maybe he hits 230, 235, gets on base a little over, slightly over 300, right? Like 310, 315.
310 would be awesome. I mean, he surpassed 300. Well, he was 300 on the nose in 22, 328 in 23, down to 284, 271 the last 2 years. So if he can get back to that, I mean, the Phillies, when you do this signing, you couldn't hope for more than that. You could not reasonably look at what this player has done unless you have one hell of a fix on video that you identified. Right. And there's no way you could sign him for that deal and say, like, well, I expect 250 again. I expect 30 home runs. I expect an OPS that sits over 800. Like, those are long shots based on what the recent output's been.
Yes. But I also think I also wonder.
I'm into the degree that we probably feel better than him than we would have about Castellanos by the end of the year.
100%. And this is the last thing I'll say about Garcia. He comes off of those 2 bad seasons and he gets a 1-year prove-it contract from the Phillies, right? Do you think he looks at that and sits there and says, I should do what they want me to do, and then if I can improve those numbers, I'm looking at a better payday next year? If he's the same as he was last year, this is his last contract.
Yeah.
He becomes somebody that nobody, maybe a minor league deal or a non-roster invite going forward. So this is a big year for him, and I look at it from that perspective as well.
Real quick on Castellanos, I know that he had an awesome first 2 days of spring training, and everyone was like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah.
Veterans in spring training numbers don't matter, I know, but I will like to just point out that he finished the spring hitting 200 with a 308 on base percentage. He was 9 for 45. He had 4 extra base hits. Should Phillies fans root for him? Or in their gut, do they kind of go, I hope this guy doesn't have a good year?
I think that there's enough people in Philadelphia who really like Nick. And I think that there's a segment of the fan base who, when they heard what the Miami incident was, that they didn't think it was as harsh as people kind of made it out to be initially. Look, you cannot bring alcohol into the dugout. It's a problem, right? Like that's a thing you can't do. But in the grand scheme of things, like it's not like, like there are so many worse things he could have done, right? Like, so I think
a beer or two can loosen things up too. I mean, come on, take the edge off a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, here we go. Jake Dudinsky says, I'm rooting for him just as a person. I think he tried hard here for the most part, and will always have that weird home run streak thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it. I don't go, he hit 200 this spring. Like, good luck. Like, I don't have any ill will, but there's always that like nature to just be like, well, now we have to compare Garcia and Castellanos all year, and we will.
Yeah, but I don't think
about 3 weeks in, we're going to be like, let's do a side by side.
Yeah, we will, but I don't think Castellanos is going to get the playing time that Garcia will. So the only thing you'll be really able to compare is, the slash line, because the counting stats there will be an imbalance, most likely.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. What is it? My turn to give you somebody down there.
The last one, yeah.
Dude, the Stott thing feels so lame because like everyone and their mother thinks that
I've saved it for you. I just assumed you were going to do it.
I mean, we talked about the numbers. Last 2 months of 25, he hit 300. The on base percentage was over, I believe, 370. OPS was well north of 880. I mean, like, I don't know. He was protected by a platoon. He'll be protected by a platoon. If things go well at the start of the season, people are probably going to say, why isn't he facing lefties? It's probably in the Phillies' best interest to continue to shield him against left-handers, not only because he's not particularly great at hitting them, but because you have Emilio Sosa there for a reason. But I do wonder if things go wrong. I know we talked a little bit about this a week or two ago. If things go wrong and they have to use Sosa elsewhere to patch a hole, Stott's probably, the beneficiary of that, where he sees more extended run. I think I believe it. And I believe it because certainly the spring was encouraging. The finish to last year was encouraging. But I believed it all along. And I'm going to be disappointed if I am wrong about him, because I thought from 22, even before he arrived in 22, that he had it, that he is an it guy, but that there's a little bit more to the statistical output to go along with the it. And I've always felt that way. I've been disappointed overall. Not that he's a bad player. He's certainly been useful to them, but I think there's more there, and I do think we're going to see it this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the only reason I didn't give you Bryson Stott is because I gave you him last year, and so I didn't want to go back to that well a second time. I let you take it this year, but I'm with you. I do think that this is legit. I do think that the changes that were made in the second half of last year were positive, to the point that it finally may have him break out this year in a full season. So I'm with you. I'm with you on Bryson Stott. I'm going to throw one more. I know we said 3. I'm just going to throw one last thing in there. That this is not even this is about a player, but not fully in on their season. But I'm fully in on JT with the ABS challenge.
Yeah, you mentioned this last week. You think he's going to redefine a catcher skill set here, right?
I really do, and I think it's going to help the pitching staff. I think it's going to help the pitching staff a lot. I really do. He seems to be so good at this. I think he was 7 for 7 in spring training, if I'm not mistaken, in challenging pitches. Like 100%. Like it's pretty damn good. Like it can't be any better than that. So he's not going to get them all right, but I think he's going to get a lot of them right, and I think it's going to help his pitchers a lot.
All right, I want to just maybe we can do one or two negatives together. I kind of want to keep this as a positive flowing show, but did you hear on the morning show with Joe DeCamara and John Ritchie on 94 WIP? They had Jim Salisbury on, and they were talking about Alec Bohm. Yeah, and Jim, and I'll paraphrase, and obviously a lot of respect for Jim, as everyone has. He kind of gave like this impassioned defense of Alec Bohm, and he has repeated something that others have said, which is that, and you've said this as well, if he were hitting 6th or 7th in a lineup, nobody would have anything bad to say about Alec Bohm, and that it's really more a product of the Phillies' inability to have right-handed protection in the middle of their order. It's not what he's designed to do. And I hear that. And if Alec Bohm were hitting 6th or 7th in this lineup, I don't think that we would feel as much angst over his performance. But I do want to push back on this a little bit, because when not just Jim or you or anyone says that, I say, well, there's some pros and cons here to Alec Bohm. And I will just say the guy was a top 3 pick. Why is the bar set so low 6 years later that if he were just hitting in the back third of your lineup, we wouldn't feel that bad about it. He was brought here to be a difference-making impact bat that you put in the middle of your order. And if this were football or basketball, I think our evaluation of him would be much more harsh, because he has not met. I mean, I know that baseball, the pipeline to being drafted, even as a top 5 pick, to actually making good on it is much harder, right? Like the expectations are a little, they're taken down a notch. And I don't think that Alec Boehm's been a bust per se. I don't think you can ever look at a player that's put the numbers up that he has and said that like he's not good or this was a bad pick. But like he's also not done what they had anticipated him doing, even as late as 22. So I just feel like, can't we kind of like have a little bit of a higher bar for this guy?
Yeah, well, I do have a higher bar for him. Like, I don't look at a guy and say, well, he was the 3rd overall pick, he should be a star. Like, I'm with you on that. Like, baseball's the one sport where none of this is guaranteed. There's so much fluctuation in guys where they're drafted over slot, under slot, like all that stuff. Like, it's all, a lot of it's financial decisions that are going into the drafting as well. But at the same time, you know, when your expectation was what it was and he never met that level, I mean, you settle for what he is, but it doesn't mean you can't be underwhelmed. And I think that we're underwhelmed by Alec Boehm. Like, you look at that player and you say, God, there should be so much more to it. And you just accept what he is. And he's a good Major League Baseball player, whatever. But he's not the next level that you thought he was going to be. And that's where the disappointment comes in.
So in this lineup, if he were hitting 6th or 7th, it would be fine. And it is, I think, exacerbated by their inability to find impact middle of the order bats that can protect those left-handers. There's no question about it. But also, like, if we're being real about this, you go back to July of 24. And so there are 18 third basemen that have had at least 740 plate appearances since the beginning of July of the 2024 season. Like, Alec Boehm, like, his on-base percentage is 9th. His slugging is 11th. Like, he's just he's in that like 10 to 13 range in almost every meaningful category. And I just look at it and I go, like, he's fine. Like, he's okay. I don't get this idea though that like, wow, like he's actually a really good hitter. He's like really one of the best hitters the Phillies have. I'm like, I don't see that. I don't view it that way. And maybe he gets back to where he was the first couple months of the 24 season and he finds it again. And I know he dealt with injury, like, and you have to account for all that. And maybe this is finally the big bust out year. And he says, see, with a contract on the line, maybe he makes good on all of it and he finds a way to hit 20 home runs and hit 45 doubles, and he's a RBI machine in the middle of the Phillies lineup, like the way he was for a few months in 24. It's possible. I hope it happens, but I just, like, my evaluation of him is just not the same as I've come to find out that a lot of people feel pretty strongly about him, and I'm not there. I just don't see it. I've tried to reconfigure my viewpoint of him, but I'm just not there.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it bothers me more, Bob, because I'm going to give you one of my disappointments or one of my things that I'm out on for the year. Here's what I'm out on. I'm not out on the player, but I'm out on the scenario. I'm out on the idea that Aiden Miller is going to be a player at some point in 2026.
It's easy to land there right now. I mean,
right.
It's been such a bummer,
right?
To see
so I think one relates to the other, like, because I was at least coming into spring training, I was at least like, well, they're going to start with Boehm, but if he struggles, Miller's going to be ready to come at some point this season, and he's going to just take the spot. Like, I was there, like that's where I was at the beginning of February, and now here we are 7 weeks later, and Aiden Miller is not going to play in 2026 in the major league level. At least I don't think he is, because of this back thing that has been ongoing for several months, and that's a bummer.
I would say it started as a bummer, and it was disappointing as it relates to his 2026 prospects. It is, as it goes on here, becoming kind of concerned. I mean, I think you'd have to be kidding yourself at this point to say this guy, he's not really doing baseball activities right now. Like, after all of this, as a young man, with no point of where you could circle on the counter, this is when I did it. I hurt myself doing this. It's a little bit of a concern, I'd have to say. I'm not saying like, panic, but if nothing else, it will certainly delay his impact here in the short term. Now, to round out the conversation about Boehm, for every conversation, anytime anyone talks about Boehm, a lot of the on-field stuff comes up where he's throwing helmets and throwing his bat and kind of carrying on a little bit. And I think that act is worn thin over time, and we certainly all had those conversations. But in fairness, look, and I don't know what's happened behind closed doors, but all indications are that he has handled the past 2 seasons or these past 2 off seasons fairly well. Like, he has said and done all the right things coming into this season for a guy who was very clearly, being dangled in trades, and he could come in and feel sorry for himself, and maybe he does, but I mean, publicly, outwardly, he's done a very good job handling this, because it has been 2 off seasons now where the Phillies have made it quite clear that they're willing to do a deal on Alec Bohm. They didn't, but they've certainly explored it, and he has handled it well.
Well, not only did they explore it, it was happening. Like, it was happening this year. If Bo Bichette signed with the Phillies, like that whole thing, they were under the impression that they had an agreement in place and Bichette was going to be here and Alec Bohm was not. Like, that was done. It was a done deal. That was going to happen. And then when that fell through, for whatever reasons it fell through, the Phillies didn't have an alternative other than to keep Alec Bohm, right? So yeah, I mean, like, if I'm Alec Bohm in that spot, I'm trying to think of how I would handle it, right? If I know that the team wanted to move on from me, and then because of circumstances outside of my control, they had to keep me and give me the job, although it seems like they're doing it begrudgingly, and I have this prospect who's coming. Granted, he got the back injury now, so maybe this changes it a little bit. But this has had to be if I'm Bohm, this is my mentality coming into spring training. Like, I'm going to go out there and say, screw you guys. I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, that's how I would be. Like, that's how I wouldn't sulk. I wouldn't worry about it. And you know what? He's shown and you're right. Like, the outward signs from Bohm have all been positive. Like, he's handled this about as well as you could ask anybody to answer.
Yeah, he's got a lot at stake here. I mean, the Phillies need him to be good. It's very important to the outcome of their season. But he needs to be good for himself, because there's another contract waiting here. And the way that he performs this year is very much going to dictate what that next contract looks like. I don't think it'll be here. Weirder things have happened, though. I mean, we'll see. But I'm rooting for him in that aspect, in that regard. I hope that he makes good on it and has that breakout season. Or he looks more like he did in the first half of the 24 season, because he's going to get paid if he does.
Yeah. I
just don't know. I mean, one other thing. I mean, you talk about batting average all you want. That time frame I gave you, I mean, he hit 275. That's actually in the top, like, I think the top 4 of that group of players. But his walk rate is 6.1%. It's a 17 out of 18 qualified third baseman.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit with enough power. He can't hit for that little power and walk that little, and have me sit here and say, like, yeah, I should appreciate the experience, the Alec Bohm experience offensively. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe he gets there. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm out. I'll tell you something else I'm out on this year. I'm out on lineup discussion. I'm so tired of it.
You're preaching to the choir here. I hate the lineup discussion. I hate it.
I'm out on it. And I was a little surprised.
Except that Boom Stott 4.5. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, I told you the Stott was going to end up hitting 5.
That's not really.
March. The thing that I was surprised by is that they didn't flip Harper and Schwarber.
But you can't say that after you said you're out on lineup discussion.
Yeah, but I'm out on it. I don't care. I really don't care. But I will say I was surprised because of all the talk all off season about what they were going to do different, and then they didn't do anything different. So that's where I was surprised. Now, who knows if that lasts, but that might just be an opening day thing. We'll see. But I really don't want to make it a big. It's going to be something that fans want to talk about, and it's going to drive me nuts, and I don't want to talk about it. So I'm out on lineup discussion.
I tend to agree with you. One quick thing, one more thing I should say about just individual players. A guy that we have not talked about really at all this spring. Very very briefly mentioned his underwhelming spring training in the last show, but I just want to say, Trey Turner finished the spring hitting 133 with a 264 on base percentage, is 486 OPS. I'd just like to point out that in 2025, Trey Turner for the spring hit 179. and then went on to win a batting title. So when we talk about whether or not spring training matters, it probably does not.
Yeah. But the thing that I liked about Turner in spring training, I will say this: he continued to show good defense.
Yeah.
Like, and that was the thing. Like, I look at it and go, okay, maybe this wasn't a 1-year fluke. Maybe he is that committed to being a better shortstop. I think he did that. He had a really nice spring defensively.
Now, what is interesting to me, of all these numbers, I did notice that, he failed the homer in the spring, and he only hit one last spring, and he didn't really show much power a year ago. And I know a lot of that was due to how he changed his approach, and some of that was by design. The Phillies wanted him to be a little bit of a different hitter last season, but I mean, he only homered 15 times a year ago, and there was that whole weird thing where he went deep into the season without hitting a home run at Citizens Bank Park, which was really weird. Just kind of curious where you're at on him entering this season. By year, his 3 seasons here, he went from a 779 OPS to 807 to his best was a year ago at 812. Do you think he continues that upward trend and we see the best, most complete version of Trey Turner this year, or do we see some regression in the batting average, and the power just kind of is what it is at this point? Like, maybe last year's version of Trey Turner was the best version.
Yeah, and look, if you get the last year's version of Trey Turner, I'm in. I'll take that again. I'll take a 300 hitter with an OPS over 800. I'm in. I don't know. What's that?
36 steals. I mean,
36 stolen bases. Yeah, like I'm in on that guy. His career OPS is 827, and that includes the 3 years with the Phillies. So I'm not sure we're ever going to get back to that Trey Turner who was high 800s, 900s OPS guy that he was in Washington. But as long as as long as he's what we got last year, and let's be honest, like 24 was a pretty underrated offensive year for him.
Yeah.
He broke 20 home runs. He hit 295, was 807 OPS. Like, if we're getting that version of Trey Turner somewhere, what we got offensively the last 2 years, and he plays defensively like he played last year, that's a win.
I think the problem for him, I mean, it's not a problem for him at all. It's actually the best thing for him is the contract. For him personally, it's a great thing. But when you evaluate him, I think that there's always this feeling of like, well, yeah, it was good, but it could have been a little bit better. And even year by year, I mean, you can just consider where he was and how deep of a hole he was in 23. He worked his way out of it a little bit and salvaged it, but it was not a good year for him. 24, yes, the offense I think was a little bit underrated, but defensively, the conversation, you go back to last winter, was, oh my God, we can't possibly do another season of Trey Turner at shortstop. It's just unplayable. Then he worked himself into an above-average defensive shortstop a year ago and goes on and wins a batting title. But then you're like, well, but sometimes it just felt like it lacked impact. Like, 15 home runs. I was hoping for a little bit more for a $30 million a year player. Like, that's the thing. He's been pretty good these last 2 years, and I think you take him, but you felt like you were getting a stud. And like when I think Trey Turner, I think really solid, good player. I don't necessarily think like stud.
I'm with you. What does he have to do to get to that ranking, though? To get to that,
like, you know what I'd like? I'd like him to hit 290. Give me 25 home runs. Give me 35 doubles, 40 doubles. Like steal 35, 40. Like just give me give me last year with a little bit more pop. You take a little hair off the batting average. Just give me a little bit more pop, a little bit more impact.
I'm in with that, and I bet you that he would take that.
Yeah,
I would think. Yeah, because I mean, if you remember the stories that I wrote about him last year when I talked to him about it, talked about mid-season, a little bit before mid-season, and again at the end of the year. The one thing he kept saying was he wished that he had more, more pop, more slug. Yeah. So I think he would agree with you, and I think that if he gives you that. If maybe he's not winning a batting title, but he's hitting 25 home runs and is keeping that OPS above 800, I think everybody's in. I think everybody will take that too. So there's several paths that Trey Turner can kind of go down.
All right, we are at an hour, so we got to move on this now. Let's go through some predictions here. I mean, let's start, I guess, with the Phillies. Like, let's do number of wins.
Yeah, Bob, I think that they're going to have a very similar year to last year. I don't know if they get to 96, but I have them at 94. And I think that they win the National League East in a much closer race than it was a year ago. Health is the most important thing. I know I start sounding like Rob Thompson a little bit, but I think that matters more than anything, because there doesn't seem to be, outside of some guys in the minors who can pitch out of the bullpen, there doesn't seem to be a lot of depth here. So injuries could hurt them. So I think health is an important part of it. But if the Phillies stay healthy, I don't see any reason why they couldn't win the division again. And I have them at 94 wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna take them down a little bit below that. I'm gonna go 92.
Okay.
I think 92 actually will get it done. I will give them the division. I just think I trust their pitching more. I think that there's enough of a bounce back, an uptick in Harper's game, that it will probably offset what I expect to be a little bit of a decline from Kyle Schwarber. I think that the Bohm year looks a little better. I think the Stott year looks a lot better. I think that there's, like I said, I like the athleticism at the bottom and top of the lineup. I think they're going to be interesting. So I give them 92. I think they win the division by 2 games over the Mets, who I think get to 90. I think the Mets are a playoff team. And I just, until the Braves can stay healthy and show me, I can't go more than 86 with the Braves right now. And I know that I'm going against projections. I'm going against sportsbook operators. I need to see them healthier. That pitching staff right now it's tough, man. It's tough to get behind that. How deep do you want to go with this? I could actually save like division by division stuff for Friday if you want to do that.
Yeah, that's totally fine. But
I'm happy to put out the how far are they going prediction here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got them going to the National League Championship Series, and then losing to the Dodgers there.
Yeah.
And not to say that I don't think they can beat the Dodgers, because again, I think that the Phillies are the one team in the National League who has the pitching to beat the Dodgers. So, like, I think they can beat the Dodgers. I just don't trust the offense enough to sit there and say that they're going to win a 7-game series against the Dodgers. That's my drawback for them. But I do think that they are capable of winning a 7-game series against the Dodgers. I just don't think that they'll do it.
Yeah, look, we see it the same way. I mean, I'll just say that I have them losing to the Dodgers. Now, whether or not that happens in the NLDS or the NLCS, I don't know. But I'll go CS with you. And I think it's possible. Like, I do think that one thing I'll say about this, I don't trust the Phillies bats in October, because nobody does. And how could you? But I also do think that sample sizes have been very small those 2 years. And I think just because they haven't doesn't mean they can't. And I think that we are overly negative. Like, it's an impossibility that this group of hitters couldn't possibly get it done in October. And I think that part's a little bit unfair, even though they certainly deserve all the criticism they have received the last couple of years. But I just can't sit here and look at it objectively and tell you that they're going to beat the Dodgers. Dodgers, 2-time defending champion, and they could have won 100+ games if everyone was healthy. I mean, the Dodgers machine, since the start of the 2020 season, the Dodgers have been awesome. And how can you pick any team to unseat them right now?
Right. But I mean, I will say, and for the record, yet again, Phillies are in my mind, the only team in the National League who can beat them. And if they do, they can win a World Series. Yeah. Whether it's the DS or the CS. Like, if they find a way past the Dodgers, this is the year. But I don't know if they do I don't think that they do find that way past the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But it sucks to be the second best team, but that's what they are in my mind. So, do you have an American League team that you like this year, or no?
Man, everyone loves the Mariners, don't they?
They do, and I don't.
This sucks, because like I usually like to fade this team, and it's been a good fade for the last number of years. But I'm going to say the Yankees get it together this year. Yeah. I'm torn between 2 teams, because I think the American League is going to give us like they did last year. How boring is it to pick the Yankees? I actually pride myself on not picking the Yankees.
Yeah, I hear you. I think the American League, they gave us a surprise team, not a surprise team, but a team that nobody really picked last year with the Blue Jays. And I think you're going to see it again. I'm just torn between two teams, but I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers as that team that comes out of the American League this year.
Well, it certainly feels a little now or never for them, does it not? I mean,
yeah.
With what looms with, Skubal. I mean, hell yeah, they're going to be formidable. I mean,
the second team, and I think they need an addition to help their offense, but I really like what their pitching staff looks like, and I think that they have the Cy Young winner this year is the Boston Red Sox. I think Garrett Crochet is going to win the American League Cy Young, and I think that they could be a team that's there in the end.
That AL East is is awesome because I mean a lot of people love Toronto for obvious reasons. They were right there. You can't get any closer to winning a championship than they were or they did a year ago.
Yeah.
And again, just the odds here, crazy. Dodgers are plus 230 to win the World Series. The Yankees plus 1,000. I actually didn't realize the Yankees were ahead of the Mariners. Mariners plus 1,200. Mets fourth best odds plus 1,300. I know that probably drives you up a wall. And then you have the Blue Jays plus 15, Red Sox plus 16. So there you go. Phillies and Red Sox have the same odds to win the World Series right now.
Yeah. No, I still think that the Phillies are the second best team behind the Dodgers. I think the Phillies are. If the Phillies found a way past the Dodgers and played any of those teams, Mariners, Yankees, Blue Jays.
You think that the Mets are good? Like the Mets are good.
They're better.
A lot of that is it's the Mets. There's a certain degree of hype with the Mets. The Peralta thing is real. How much do you think the Bichette thing is like the needle mover in the way that it's viewed at the high level like that?
I don't think it is. I think that they're. I think first of all, I think defensively they're going to be terrible.
I think by the end of this is this is fanboy stuff, but I think by the end of this year. Bichette will have a fine year, but I don't think anyone's going to – I'm going to come back. This is going to come back to haunt me. But I think by the end of the year, I think very few people around here are going to say, oh, my God, I can't believe we did not get this guy.
Bichette. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And like I said, I think that there's a lot of – defensively, they're going to be terrible. They're going to be terrible defensively. Bichette can't play third base. I mean, Lindor's good at short, but I don't know. Is Simeon's been dropping off at second? Polanco's not a first baseman. No. I don't know. Is Soto going to be? I mean, he's probably better in left than right, but we saw him starting to fall off. I like Luis Robert. I kind of like that addition by them, to be honest with you. I think that was a kind of a savvy move to get him.
That's your boy.
Yeah, we'll see what the kid Carson Beng looks like in right field this year for them. He's had a great spring. So I'm just, I'll tell you where I'm still out on the Mets. Pitching. I don't like their bullpen a little bit. I just don't. I think that the starting pitching, adding Peralta was nice, right? That's a nice pickup. And I think McLean's going to be really good. But beyond that, I mean, David Peterson again, Clay Holmes again, Senga again. It's not that great, and it's getting older. They're all in their 30s. And then in the bullpen, I mean, look, Devin Williams was terrible for the Yankees. I don't know why anybody thinks all of a sudden he's going to be good for the Mets.
No, man. His stuff is good. He was really good with Milwaukee. I know it didn't end well, but I don't know.
But it might be. It might be one of those situations where he pitches better in an environment that's not as high pressure as New York, right? I'm just saying, could be.
See what you did there.
Right. Well, just saying. And then you look at the rest of that bullpen, what's there? I mean, it's a lot of the same. Yeah. I mean, they brought in Luke Weaver, but he wasn't great for the Yankees. He couldn't hold down the closer's job. Luis Garcia. I mean, talk about a retread. The guy's 39 years old. He's in the middle of their bullpen. Is their one of their setup guys.
Yeah.
Brazaban. I mean, come on. I don't like. There's nothing to really like about that bullpen either.
Dude, you hate the Mets though. So I think what you're giving is informed analysis, and I believe that everyone should listen to it. I just think that they should take 10% of the hate off of it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean for sure. I mean, I think the Mets are a playoff team too. I do. I think they're improved. I'm being honest about that, but I don't think they're as good as the Phillies.
Okay. All right.
So there you go. I do have one last thing, Bob, and it's a quick one. Just because I thought it was a really, really cool story. Did you see what happened in Arlington yesterday.
I did. For once, you've been doing this to me. We're on like a run here where you say, "Did you see or did you read?" And I go, "No,
Yeah,
I didn't." But this one I did. This was cool.
Yes. So the Rangers wrapped up their spring training in Arizona a couple days early because they had a 2-game series in their home park, Globe Life Park, against the Kansas City Royals. And yesterday they had this rookie kid pitching, Carter Baumler, on the mound, and they Skip Schumacher walks out to the mound. They thought, you're thinking, okay, he's going to take him out of the game. And instead he tells him with the rest of the team around him, "Hey kid, you made the opening day roster." I think that's pretty darn cool. And that's a really good way to do it. It
was cool because you see his face, like he's excited. The guys are on the mound. It was the entire infield was on the mound. You could see that they were fired up for it too. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just thought, you don't get a lot of fun moments like that in baseball. It's very, very regimented. Everything's very similar from one team to the next. But that was something you don't normally see. And I thought, you know what, that kid's going to remember that forever. Like, I'm on the mound in a major league ballpark, pitching a game that's an exhibition game, and I find out while I'm on the mound, oh, by the way, you made the.
I put you on the spot because I don't know anything about Carter Baumler. Is he a reliever? Is he a starter? Would we possibly see him this weekend in Philadelphia? Like, what's?
I'm sure there's a chance that you will see him pitching out of the bullpen.
I say all this. This is a great story. I love this kid. I hope he's really successful. I also hope the Phillies pummel him if they see him this weekend.
Yeah. So he was acquired in a
He's a Rule 5 guy, right?
Yeah. Well, originally I think he was, but he was acquired from the Pirates, I believe. Okay. He's only 24 years old. He's going to be in their bullpen. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I think Texas is a team that might be a little bit better than people realize. I'll tell you, I think Wyatt Langford is a guy on that team that is going to have the big breakout this year. I think that people are going to be talking about him this year as that next level star. And I like their pitching, like, for the most part. Evaldi's 36, but he's still good.
You like the Phillies on opening day? I didn't get a prediction. I didn't get a series prediction from you. I didn't get an opening day prediction. The Phillies minus 150 with Sanchez on the mound at home against the Evaldi.
Yeah, I'll take the Phillies in the opener. If it was going up against DeGrom, I would have thought a little bit about that. But it's not. It's going.
The perfect weekend is the opening day win. You regroup. You come back Saturday. It's NOLA, right, on Saturday?
NOLA is on Saturday. Has Texas announced?
I don't know what they have.
Have they announced? I don't think they've announced who's pitching Saturday yet.
Okay.
It should be DeGrom, because I think that they're trying to line him up for their home opener. And so in order to do that, he has to pitch this weekend. And the other guy that they have in their rotation is a guy who normally gives the Phillies fits, and that's Mackenzie Gore.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I believe I saw Gore. Don't quote me on this, but I believe Gore was in the probables that I saw supposed to go Sunday, though MajorLeagueBaseball.com has not yet listed it.
Okay. Yeah. So if that's the case, it'll be DeGrom NOLA on Saturday and then Gore versus Luzardo on Sunday.
All right. I'm in 2 out of 3. It's going to be bookended by Cy Young performances and then a lot of angst on Saturday afternoon. It's perfect. Perfect start to a Philly season.
Exactly. And it's the weather's not going to be fun on Saturday. So that
it's going to be gross.
Also makes it worse. So
yes.
Anyway, but
that's get
us
us out of here.
Yeah, it's time to wrap it. Thanks for joining us for this 9th annual Philly season preview. Now on Phightin Words from our other podcast that we used to have, but 9 years in a row, Bob and I have done this. And as always, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, wherever you get them. Best place right here, YouTube. Subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and you'll get an alert. Ring the bell. You'll never forget or never not know when we're going live here, which we're going to start doing twice a week now that the season is upon us. And if you're listening in the podcast feed and you want to find us on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@Phightin Words. So for Bob Wankel, I'm Anthony Sanfilippo saying thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we will talk to you on Friday.